and today we are going to be doing a full phone collection of August 2024. I have collected lots of phones recently, so anyways, let's get started. First up is the Samsung, what is this? Let's find out real quick. This is an SCH R311. This one's on US Cellular. It does work. Next up is the Samsung Upstage. Next up is the LG Cosmos 3, I believe, or 2. I don't know. Next up is the LG 325G. Hello. I forgot to turn this one off. But anyways, we'll turn this back on. Hello. This is the LG 440G on track phone. Hello. Yeah, I already have enough iPhone 4s already. Show you all of them later on when I get to them. Next up is the Motorola Razr V3 on Sprint. Next up is the Samsung Trance. Next up is the LG Revere 1. Well, this is one of them. I have two. Let me shut this off real quick. There we go. Next up is the Orbic Journey. This one's on Verizon. Next up is the Samsung Gusto 1. I had this one for a long time. Next up is the Motorola W376G. This one's on track phone and it works. Next up is the LG Alcatel. This one works. Next up is the Nokia 3102B on Singular. This one works. Of course, this one has no SIM card, so I'm going to turn it off. Next up is the LG G4010. This one's on singular, and it works. Next up is one of the Samsung SCH A870s. This is the one that doesn't have a battery. The other one's in the front right there. I'll get to that one after this. So, yeah, this one does work. It just doesn't have a battery. Here's the other one that does have a battery, and it works. Next up is the LG AX300 on Alcatel, and it works. Next up is the Samsung SCHR 475. I don't know. Let's find out. It's the SCHR 470, and this one's also on US Cellular. This one works. Next up is the LG VX8360. This one has a broken hinge. It turns on, but the screen doesn't work. So yeah, this one's kind of broken. Not gonna turn it on or anything. So yeah. Next up is the Samsung This one's the SPH A620. Maybe. Yeah, this one is untested. It can't find a proper charger for this thing. It has these weird stickers on here. Can't really get them off. Next up is the LG VX6100. This one works. Next up is the Samsung SCHR 500. This one's on Alcatel and it works. Here's the other LG Revere 1. This one works. This one has a dead battery, but it does work. Next up is the Nokia. Hold on, let me find out what this is. This one is the RM 1035. Has a T-Mobile SIM card in here for some reason. I don't know. I don't know why, but it just ended up in there. But other than that, it works. Next up is the Motorola i335. This one is on Nextel. I don't have a battery in it right now. It's in the Motorola clutch. And speaking of Motorola clutch, here's the actual phone. This one's on Boost Mobile, and it works. Next up is one of the LG 1010s. I had this one for a really long time. Yeah, I think I do. Are these batteries degraded or what? My goodness. Well, a lot of phones that have a lot of degrading batteries. Anyways, here's one of the Alcatel cinches. I forgot to turn this one off. This is the Assurance wireless one. Next up is the Samsung SPH M300. This one works. Next up is the LG Shine. This one does work. I just need a charger for this. I have a proper one for it. You see, I don't even have that kind of port. It's a proprietary charger. And yeah, it's on AT&T though, but it does work. I tested it with one of the LG batteries and it did work. Next up is the LG 225C. This one works. Next up is the LG MV1. This one is untested. I don't have a charger for this one. Next up is the Kyocera Presto. Yeah, this one does not have a battery in it, but it does work. It's in that Kyocera flip phone, which I'll get to later. Next up is the Samsung SGHT 259. And this one has this chunk has broken off since when I got it, but I fixed it though. But this one is barely hanging on. But the screen doesn't work, but it turns on though, so technically it works. Next up is the Alcatel One Touch A206G. This one is on track phone. This one's untested. I don't have a battery for it. Next up is the Motorola Razr 2. Oh, V9M. This one is on Sprint. Yeah. Hello. But anyways, yes, it definitely is locked to Sprint. But anyways, yeah. It works, I just need a battery for it. Next up is the Samsung. Hold on. Just give me a second real quick. This one is the SPH A900. It does work, I just need to... I don't know, I think they did. But now it's Boost Mobile now because Sprint technically owns it. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, it does work. I just need a charger. I tested it once with one of the Samsung batteries. So yeah. Yeah, I just need a charger for this one. Here's the other LG 1010. This one only works on the charger. Next up is the Sanyo PM8200. This one is untested. I don't have a proper charger for this one. So, yeah. Next up is the AudioVox CDM8910. This one is on US Cellular. It works for, it partially works. But midway there it says data abort. I don't know what that means or anything. But if anyone can tell me what that is, then that would be greatly appreciated. So yeah. It technically works, though. The battery's dead though, so I can't show you. Next up is the Sanyo VI2300. This one works, but the battery's dead. I don't have a proper charger for this one. Next up is one of the LG Zenons. It does work. Next up is the Sanyo SCP-3100. This one is untested, but because I don't have a proper charger for this one. So yeah. So it's untested. Shut this off. Next up is the Nokia 5160. Or as I like to call it, the Donald Duck phone, because it has this Donald Duck faceplate on it. It's on AT&T though. It does work, but the battery appears to be dead. Next up is the Sony Ericsson Z310A. This one works, but the battery's dead though. I only have the car charger for this phone. Next up is the Samsung Gusto 2. This one does not work. Next up is the Samsung Omnia 1. This one works. Yeah, but now it decreased to 7. Yeah, this one is a Windows phone, and it does work. Next up is the LG VX8350. This one works. Next up is the Sanyo SCP-4900. This one is untested. I don't have a proper charger for this one. Next up is the Nokia, what is this? This one is the Nokia 6102i. This one's on AT&T. It does work, but the screen is really dimmed on this thing. I don't know how to fix that, but anyways. The battery can come out easily because the back cover's broken. But other than that, it does work. I don't have a proper charger for this one, so I have to grab a random Nokia battery out of this one and put it in here. Next up is the unit in BT905. This is technically a house phone, but anyways. I don't have the power cord to the charger, but I don't have the actual charger, so this one's untested. Next up is the Samsung SGH X497. This one's on singular. This one's untested though. I don't have a proper charger for this one. It takes a certain charger, so yeah. Anyways, so yeah. Next up is the LG VX 8300. This one works. Next up is the UT Starcom Apache. This one is a pocket PC. It does work, I just need a battery. And the back cover comes off easily because it's broken. So yeah. Yeah, it does work, I just need a battery. Next up is the Palm Trio. This one is untested because I don't have a charger for this one. Next up is the Samsung Intensity 2. I don't have a battery or back cover for this one, but it does work. Though because I tried it with a different Samsung battery and it worked. Next up is the Samsung Convoy 3. This one works. Next up is the Nokia whatever this is. I think this one is a 6810 or a 6610. Let me take a look. Yeah, I think this is a 6610. This one's untested. I don't have a battery for it. Next up is the Samsung S125G. This one works. Next up is the LG Revere 3 on US Cellular. It works. Next up is the LG 200C. This one works. Next up is the other Alcatel cinch. This one works. I'm not too sure, but if they did, I already bypassed them by restoring them through iCloud. Not iCloud. I mean iTunes. Next up is the Nokia 6061. This one works. Next up is the LG Select. This one works. This is a Metro PCS version of this one. Metro PCS. Next up is the Motorola Pebble. This one's on Alcatel. This one's untested because I don't have a battery for this one. I don't know if this will work or not. Next up is the Motorola i415. This one is untested. I don't have a charger for this one. Next up is the Qualcomm A100, I believe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I might be wrong. Next up is the ZTE. What is this? This one is the ZTE A210. This one's on Cricket and it works. Well, only the front screen works. Only the front one does, but the main one's broken, so it's pretty much a white display only. So if I wanted to see that, I'd have to replace it. And these are kind of hard to fix. Yes, I do. It's hard to tell because they're the same color. It's because I have more than one iPhone 5. There's one white one and then the rest of them are black. Here's a Kia Sarah. Hold on. This one is the S2100. This one's on Virgin Mobile and it works. Yeah, it does work, which I'll show you right now. Here's a Kia Sarah Jax, I believe. I don't know. Yeah, this one, I don't know if it works or not. It does work, but I think the battery's starting to get a little puffed up. Should throw that away soon. Next up is the LG Scoop. This one's untested because I don't have a charger for this one. Next up is the Motorola. I don't even know what this is, but it's on Voice Stream, but not too sure what this one is. So, yeah. This one's untested. I don't have proper batteries for this one. Next up is the Motorola V120T on track phone. This one is untested. I don't have a charger for this one. Next up is the Motorola C331. This one is untested because I don't have a charger for this one. Next up is this Sony Ericsson Z510 or 520A. This one kind of works, but This screen doesn't work. This screen is broken. But I don't have a battery in it right now, so I can't show you that. Here's the other LG Zenon. I'm not going to turn this one. It does work, but I'm not going to turn it on because the screen's gone bad on this one. So I'd have to replace it. Next up is the LG UX240. Yeah. This one is on US Cellular, and it partially works. The screen doesn't work, but it does turn on. Both the screens don't because this chunk came off when I got it. I don't know how it happened, but it was like that when I got it. Next up is the Sanyo Katana on Sprint. This one's untested because I don't have a charger for this one. Next up is the Nokia 6205. This one does work. I don't have a battery in it right now. Now on to the smartphones, which they're going to be on that side. So anyways, let's get started. Next up is one of the newer ones. This is the Samsung Galaxy Exhilarate. No, I haven't yet. This one's on AT&T, and it does work. Next up is the Wale Union. This one works. It's on Boost Mobile. Next up is one of my Motorola Droid Razr M's. This is probably the newest one that I got. And it does work. But on the camera it looks orange for some reason, even though it's red. I don't know. It looks like that on camera, but the screen's totally fine. Next up is the Motorola, not Motorola, I mean Microsoft Lumia 430. This is a Windows phone, and this is the newest ones that I got. And it does work. Next up is this Acer phone. I haven't looked up what model this one is, but I will do that soon. It does work, though. Sorry, I did make that mistake. That's my fault. Next up is the Samsung Galaxy Discover on Cricket. I have seen these before, but most of them that I saw were on TracFone. This is a Cricket variant. It does work. Alrighty. Next up is the Samsung Galaxy S2. This one's on T-Mobile, as you can see right there. And it does work. Next up is my backup phone. This is a TCL something. I don't even know, but it's on TracFone though. Ready? Next up is the Samsung Galaxy S6. This one works. It's on Verizon. Next up is the LG G4. This one works. Next up is the iPhone 4S. This one works. Next up is the Motorola Droid Max. This logo is green. It may look cyan on here, but that's how it looks on camera. Next up is the Alcatel Loom. This one works. Next up is the HTC Thunderbolt. It works. Whoa. I guess I had the quick boot on. Next up is the Samsung Galaxy S7. This one's on AT&T and it works. Next up is the Samsung Galaxy A01. This one's locked to track phone. Next up is the Samsung Galaxy S4. This one's on Verizon. Here's the other Motorola Droid Razr M, and this one I had for a long time, probably since like 2018, but it does work. Next up is the iPhone 7. This one works. Next up is the ZTE Maven 2. This one works. It's on AT&T. It has a dead battery, so I can't show you that it works. Next up is the LG Spirit 4G. This one's on Claro. Next up is the Samsung Galaxy Core Prime. This one's on Verizon, and it works. Next up is my Samsung Galaxy Note 2 on Sprint. Next up is one of my iPhone 5S's. This one works. Here's one of my iPhone 4s. It says this one has a cracked screen, but I can barely turn it on because the power button doesn't work. So I have to plug it in and turn it on. So yeah. Next up is the ZTE Maven 3. This one works. It's on AT&T. Well, that's actually one of them. Next up is the Nokia Lumia 920. And that phone was on AT&T. This next up is this iPhone 3GS. Good question. Actually, yeah. When you hit that little plus thing in the middle on YouTube, then that will pop up, and then just switch it to live, and then type whatever you want to put for your title, and then you're good to go. And then you press good live, and you're good. You just started a live stream. Next up is one of my iPhone 5s. This one works. This is the one that doesn't boot loop. Here's the iPhone 5 that does boot loop. I don't know what's wrong with it. I can't even reset it. I think the memory's corrupted on here. So yeah. It does work. I can't really show you because the battery's dead. Next up is the iPhone 6s. This one doesn't work. Next up is the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G. This one's on T-Mobile. Next up is the Samsung Galaxy J7V. This one's on Verizon, and it works. Next up is the iPhone 6s Plus. This one works, but the battery's dead. Here's one of my iPhone 4s. This one works, but the back is cracked. I think this is my last iPhone 4. This one works. This one's dead, so I can't really... Yeah, it works. The battery's dead, though. Here's an original iPhone 6. This one works. Next up is the Google Pixel 2 XL. This one's locked to Verizon. And this one has a bad battery and a bad charging port, so yeah, can't really show you that right now because the battery's dead. Next up is my last iPhone 5, original, and it does work. Yeah, fact about this one is that this was my old one. This was my old phone. My main phone right now that I'm recording with is my iPhone 15 Plus. It has 128 gigs and it's locked to AT&T. Next up is the Nokia Lumia 930. This one boot loops, and I can't really fix it. So I guess the memory's corrupted. Too corrupted to open the recovery mode. So this one's pretty much salvage. It's on AT&T though, but can't really show you that it boot loops because the battery's dead. Here's the other ZTE Maven 3. This one does work, but it's on the same carrier as the last one, which is AT&T. But this one does not have a battery in it. It used to, but it got bloated, so I had to throw it away. Here's the other iPhone 3GS. This is a 16 gig. It does work, but the battery's dead. Next up is the iPhone 5. Well, this is my last one, actually. So anyways, it does work, but the battery's dead. Next up is the iPhone 5S. This one works. The battery's dead though, so yeah. Anyways, here we go. Oh, here's my Samsung Galaxy Tab A7 Lite. This one is on Verizon. This is my current tablet. It has a dead battery right now, so can't really show you that it works. Next up is the LG G Pad. This one's on T-Mobile, and it does work. Next up is one of my Samsung Galaxy Tab 4s. This one does work. They both work. This one has a dead battery. There goes the LG tablet that I just showed you. And anyways, here's my Kindle Fire 5th Gen. This one works, but the battery's dead. Well, this is actually one of them. Here's the other one. This one does work. The battery's dead though. Here's the Kindle Fire HD 2nd Gen. And this one works, but actually wait, it doesn't work. I forgot that it doesn't. So yeah. Next up is the Kindle Fire something. I don't know. But it does work, but the battery's dead. Here's my other Samsung Galaxy Tab 4. This one works. And the battery's not dead on this one, so yeah. Here's my old tablet, which is my iPad 6th Gen. This one does work. Next up is the iPad 3. This one works. So, anyways, that is it for my full phone collection of August 2024. This one live stream. So don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for more notifications so you don't miss out for new videos like this one. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.